far beyond the blue oceans and soft clouds of Earth, in a region of space where stars formed slow golden rivers across the darkness. The listening stations of the Galactic Council were always awake. Thousands of silent machines floated between systems, collecting signals, voices, music, arguments, trade data, and the endless noise of living civilizations. Every species made sound in its own way. Some sang in radiation pulses. Some spoke through shifting gravity waves. Others used simple radio, like the younger worlds. And then there was humanity. Humans were never quiet. Their planet spilled noise into space like light from a cracked lantern. News channels argued day and night. Civilian pilots joked over open frequencies. Children sent messy school broadcasts toward nearby colonies. Musicians transmitted concerts without permission. Scientists tested signals that overlapped with military encryption and then apologized later. Even during sleep cycles, Earth hummed with artificial satellites whispering to one another. For decades, the Council's monitoring archives described Earth with the same repeated phrase: constant, chaotic, alive. So when the noise stopped, the machines noticed first. At Listening Post 17, a small automated relay orbiting a cold red star, a routine scan reached toward Earth's coordinates and found nothing. No civilian chatter, no military encryption, no trade beacons, not even the quiet background handshake of navigation satellites. The system paused, checked its instruments, and scanned again. Still nothing. The relay sent a low-priority alert to the nearest staffed observatory. Silence could mean equipment failure, signal drift, or solar interference. It was rarely important. But within 3 minutes, 17 more listening posts reported the same absence. Within 10 minutes, every deep-range monitor in that spiral arm confirmed it. Earth had gone silent. Not dim, not damaged, not destroyed, just silent. The alert level climbed slowly at first, then all at once. Automated summaries flowed toward the central data rings of the Galactic Council. Analysts were awakened from rest cycles, navigation routes were rechecked. Long-range telescopes turned their silver eyes toward the small yellow star humans called the Sun. The images showed peaceful oceans, moving clouds, city lights glowing on the night side of the planet, orbital stations rotating exactly where they should be. Nothing looked wrong, which made everything feel wrong. Inside the Great Council chamber, built within the hollow center of an ancient asteroid, representatives began to gather. Some arrived through shimmering translation gates. Others appeared as floating holographic bodies, their real forms too fragile or too distant for travel. A few enormous species connected only through remote thought links, their presence marked by soft changes in gravity across the chamber floor. Meetings were usually slow, full of procedure and careful language. This time, voices overlapped before the formal opening signal even sounded. Signal collapse across all bands. No debris field detected. Could this be concealment before conflict? Humans do not conceal. They announce. They announce everything, another delegate muttered. At the center platform, where the oldest member species traditionally presided, Archivist Speaker Thren unfolded from a resting coil and lifted his narrow head. His species measured time in centuries and preferred patience over panic, but even he could feel the unease spreading through the chamber like cold mist. He activated the chamber's quiet field, softening the overlapping voices into stillness. "Report," he said. A data construct formed above the floor, showing a simple timeline. 12 monitoring sectors. One shared result. Total silence from Earth. "How long?" asked a crystalline delegate whose voice sounded like distant bells. 2 hours. 17 minutes, replied the analyst construct. A murmur moved through the chamber. Short silences could happen. Communication storms, solar flares, local system interference, but complete silence across every frequency required intention. Or disaster. "Military scan," demanded a tall avian representative. feathers tight with tension. Any fleet movement toward Sol? None detected. Invasion signatures? None. Energy discharge? Planetary damage? Planetary damage? Gravitational anomaly? Negative. Each answer removed one fear and replaced it with another, heavier one, because there was one explanation no one wanted to say aloud. Humans had chosen to be quiet. The idea felt impossible. Silence did not match their history. When threatened, humans spoke louder. When celebrating, louder still. Even in grief, they broadcast songs into space so the lost would not feel alone. Choosing silence meant purpose, and purpose in human behavior often meant action already in motion. 3 more hours passed. The chamber remained in continuous session. Updates arrived every few minutes, always the same. Earth remained peaceful. Earth remained whole. Earth remained silent. Delegates began searching memory archives for anything similar. Patterns mattered in interstellar politics. Repeated behavior could predict the future. At first, nothing obvious appeared. Human history was loud, emotional, complicated. Wars, alliances, exploration, mistakes, apologies, rebuilding, noise filled every record. Then a junior historian from a minor water-dwelling species submitted a restricted query. Previous instances of near-total human signal silence, the chamber authorized the search. Only 3 results appeared across 2 centuries of contact. That alone was enough to chill the air. Thren studied the timestamps without speaking. He remembered those years. Everyone did. Each silence had been followed by sudden, precise change, somewhere in the galaxy. Pirate strongholds collapsing overnight. Illegal slave markets emptied without trace. A war fleet drifting powerless after its weapons simply refused to function. No official human declaration of war had ever been issued in those moments, only quiet, then resolution. Humans called it taking care of a problem. The Council had never proven direct involvement, but the timing had always been exact. A soft vibration passed through the chamber as another update arrived. 6 hours of silence. Half a standard planetary rotation on Earth. The avian delegate shifted uneasily. "If this is preparation," she said, "for what scale of action would they require planetary quiet?" No one answered, because no one knew the limit of what humanity considered necessary. Attention turned again to long-range scans, this time not of Earth, but of nearby trade routes and colony paths. If humans were acting, movement might appear somewhere else. For a long time, nothing unusual appeared. Then a navigation analyst requested emergency priority. One human civilian colony vessel, Registry Morning Light, had vanished from its expected route near the Outer Protectorate region 3 days earlier. The chamber stilled completely. Civilian. Children aboard, most likely. Families, teachers, agricultural specialists. Humans rarely traveled alone when founding new settlements. They carried pieces of home with them, music, gardens, stories, entire communities folded into starships. "Distress signal?" Thren asked quietly. "None recorded." "Debris?" "None." "Nearby traffic?" "Protectorate patrols only, all Council-aligned." The words Council-aligned felt suddenly fragile. The silence from Earth reached its 7th hour. Across the chamber, fear took a new shape, not fear of human destruction, but fear of human certainty. If the morning light had been taken, humans would not respond with blind anger. They would search. Confirm. Plan. Quietly. Thren closed his inner eyelids, a gesture of deep thought among his species. When he opened them again, the decision had already formed. "Prepare sealed historical release," he said. Several delegates reacted with shock. Those archives contained events the Council preferred to remember gently, if at all. Moments when law had failed and humans had intervened without permission. "Is that necessary?" asked the crystalline delegate. "Yes," Thren replied, because ignorance will not protect us from what comes next. The release codes activated. Ancient records began to open, and still, Earth said nothing. 9 hours. 10. Across countless worlds, observatories kept watching the small blue planet that refused to speak. Some civilians did not yet know anything was wrong. Trade continued. Stars burned. Ordinary life moved forward, unaware that the quiet of one distant world had captured the full attention of the galaxy. In the council chamber, no one left their position. They were waiting. Not for an attack, not for a message, but for the moment humanity decided the silence had lasted long enough. Because deep in every delegate's memory lived the same uncomfortable understanding, spoken once long ago by a human ambassador during a minor dispute. But when we get quiet, you should be very careful what happens next. The 11th hour approached, and still the stars heard nothing from Earth at all. The 11th hour of Earth's silence did not feel like time passing. It felt like pressure building in a sealed room with no doors. Across the Galactic Council chamber, no delegate spoke unless necessary. Even species that normally communicated through color or scent had dimmed their signals, as if noise itself might invite something they did not understand. The great hollow asteroid that housed the chamber had witnessed wars, alliances, births of new civilizations, and the slow fading of ancient ones. Never had it felt this still. Archivist Speaker Thren remained at the center platform, surrounded by drifting layers of newly opened historical records. Data light moved across his scaled skin like reflections from distant water. He studied every past moment when humanity had fallen quiet, searching not only for events, but for intention. Patterns mattered more than facts. In the first recorded silence, a trading moon on the edge of mapped space had secretly captured refugee ships and sold their passengers into forced labor. The crime had been hidden behind false documents and erased signals. For 6 hours, Earth had gone quiet. When the silence ended, the labor camps were empty. Every captive had been returned home. The criminal network had collapsed from within. Its leaders quietly delivered to council authorities with full evidence. No human fleet had ever been seen near the system. In the second silence, a border war between two non-human powers had begun targeting civilian transports to weaken morale. The council debated sanctions for weeks. Humanity went silent for 8 hours. When Earth spoke again, the weapon systems of both war fleets had permanently shut down. Engineers later confirmed no physical damage, only software changes so deep they could not be reversed. The war ended the same day. In the third silence, a research corporation had experimented on an uncontacted pre-space species, believing no one would notice. Earth had gone quiet for almost 12 hours. Afterward, every research facility connected to the project was peacefully evacuated. The corporation dissolved within a week under legal pressure from dozens of worlds. The untouched species below never learned how close danger had come. 3 silences. 3 precise corrections. No open war. No public threats. Only results. Now Earth had been silent longer than ever before. Around the chamber, delegates slowly understood what that meant. Whatever had happened to the missing colony vessel Morning Light was serious enough to require more preparation than any previous human intervention. The avian representative folded her wings tightly. "If the pattern holds," she said carefully, "then action is already in progress." "Yes," Thren replied, "most likely." A soft tremor of unease moved through the chamber. "What scale?" asked the crystalline delegate. "That," Thren said, "is what frightens everyone." A navigation analyst requested permission to project a wider star map. Trade routes, patrol zones, and protectorate territories appeared as glowing lines across the darkness. The Morning Light's last confirmed position pulsed near the outer boundary of Council protection, in a region considered politically stable. No known pirate activity. No hostile fleets. No recent disputes. Too clean. Too quiet. "Investigate council member traffic," Thren ordered. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably. Accusing a member species without proof violated centuries of trust. But the silence from Earth was already breaking every sense of safety. Protocol felt less important than truth. Data streams widened. Patrol logs opened. Cargo scans replayed. Diplomatic transmissions were reviewed minute by minute. For a long time, nothing unusual appeared. Then a discrepancy surfaced, small, almost meaningless on its own. A Protectorate security patrol had briefly disabled its public tracking signal near the Morning Lights route, citing routine sensor maintenance. The gap lasted only 4 minutes. 4 minutes was enough. The chamber temperature seemed to drop, though most species did not measure heat the same way. Attention focused on the patrol's origin, a respected council civilization. Long-standing treaties, no history of major violations, which made the possibility harder to accept. "Correlation is not proof," the avian delegate said quickly, as if trying to convince herself. "No," Thren agreed. "But humans do not act on correlation alone." Silence returned. Somewhere, beyond the chamber walls and far across interstellar distance, humanity was doing something with perfect confidence. That meant they already knew the truth. The 12th hour began. No one announced it. Everyone felt it. Across the galaxy, observatories continued to watch Earth. Still peaceful, still whole, still completely silent. Civilian networks outside the Sol system had begun to notice the absence now. Questions spread along trade channels. Rumors formed, uncertain and nervous. Inside the chamber, a low-level alert chimed. "Incoming transmission from Earth." Every delegate froze. The signal carried no military encryption, no aggressive signature, no priority override. It was a simple, wide-band message, the same format humans used for ordinary public communication, which somehow made it more frightening. "Display," Thren said. The chamber lights dimmed as the message formed in the air. Only a single human voice spoke. Calm. Clear, unhurried. "The children from Colony Vessel Morning Light are safe." Nothing more. The message ended. Confusion spread instantly. Delegates spoke over one another, translators struggling to keep pace. "Safe where? Rescued from whom? Why announce only this?"
Thren did not speak. He was watching the data channels behind the message, the silent technical layers most species ignored.
Because something else was happening. Private transmissions, thousands of them, were leaving Earth at the exact same moment, each directed toward a specific destination. Secure, precise, unmistakable. One destination mattered more than the rest. The council member species whose patrol signal had vanished for 4 minutes. A sealed report arrived in their diplomatic network. Then another, and another. Within seconds, their entire governmental structure was receiving identical data packages, each marked with human origin authentication that could not be forged. Inside the chamber, representatives from that species began to change color in visible waves of shock. Their translator implants struggled to keep emotional stability in their voices. "What? What is this?" one of them whispered. No one else could see the report yet, but everyone could see the fear. Thren watched carefully. He had lived long enough to recognize guilt before confession. "Share the data with the council," he said gently. For a moment the delegates hesitated. Then the files opened to the chamber. Evidence filled the air in silent, undeniable detail. The Morning Light had been intercepted. Its passengers separated. Children moved to hidden containment sites. Adults forced into classified labor programs far from council inspection routes. Every location mapped, every official named, every order recorded. and one final confirmation stamped across the timeline. All captives recovered alive within the last 12 hours. No alarms triggered, no battles recorded, no human fleet detected entering the territory. Yet the prisons were empty, the guards unharmed but restrained. Security systems rewritten so gently they had not realized control was gone until it was over. Humanity had crossed the distance in silence, solved the problem completely, and left without leaving visible scars. The chamber could not find words large enough for what that meant. One line remained at the end of the human report, simple and direct. You will announce the truth to the council yourself. We believe in accountability and in second chances. Once. No threat, no demand, only expectation. Around the chamber, something deeper than fear began to grow. Understanding. Humans had not gone silent to prepare for war. They had gone silent to make sure war would not be necessary. The realization settled slowly, like light reaching the bottom of a deep ocean. And for the first time since the silence began, Archivist Speaker Thren allowed himself a quiet breath of relief, because the galaxy was still safe. Not from humanity, but because of them. The chamber did not return to normal after the truth appeared. Normal no longer existed in that moment. Every delegate understood that they had just witnessed something the galaxy had never seen so clearly before. Humanity had acted across impossible distance, inside the protected space of a council member, and had done it without open conflict, without loss of innocent life, and without asking permission. Silence remained in the air, but it was no longer the same silence that had come from Earth. This one was heavier, filled with realization. The representatives of the guilty civilization stood together near the edge of the central platform. Their skin tones, which usually shifted in calm waves of blue and silver, now flickered in broken patterns that revealed shock and shame. They had always believed themselves honorable. They had believed their hidden program was necessary for economic survival, temporary, controlled. Many in their own government had never known the full truth. Now the truth was visible to the entire galaxy. No one in the chamber spoke harshly to them. That, more than anger, made the moment difficult to endure. Archivist Speaker Thren watched quietly. His long memory told him that this was the turning point in every crisis. Not the discovery of wrongdoing. Not even the correction of it. The turning point was the choice that followed exposure. Would a civilization deny, defend, and fracture? Or would it accept truth and change? The answer would shape centuries. A soft signal arrived from the council communication ring. Another message from Earth, but this one was different. It was not public. It was addressed only to the council leadership. Thren opened it slowly, aware that every delegate was watching his expression for clues. The message contained no images, no dramatic language, no political demands, only a short status report written in plain diplomatic English, the language humans preferred when they wanted to be clearly understood. All recovered passengers from the Morning Light were alive. Medical teams were already caring for them. Psychological specialists were present for the children. Families would be reunited soon. Evidence had been preserved according to council legal standards. Human personnel had withdrawn completely from the involved territories. At the end, a single line appeared. We will not attend the next council session. This matter belongs to you. Thren read the line twice. It carried deep meaning, hidden inside simple words. Humanity was refusing praise, refusing influence, refusing even the position of witness. They were returning responsibility to the galaxy itself. Several delegates released quiet breaths they had been holding. The absence of humans in the chamber felt strange, almost unreal. Yet their presence was everywhere, and the consequences now unfolding. Attention slowly returned to the guilty representatives. They had received the same private confirmation. One of them stepped forward, movements unsteady but determined. Their translator voice trembled at first, then steadied with effort. "We will speak," the delegate said. No one interrupted. Even species unfamiliar with spoken language remained perfectly still. Giving space for the moment, "Our government authorized a classified labor initiative," the delegate continued. "It was hidden from public record and from portions of our own leadership. We believed the need was temporary. We believed control would prevent harm. We were wrong." Each sentence seemed to cost effort, but the delegate did not stop. The interception of the human colony vessel was deliberate. The separation of families was deliberate. The secrecy was deliberate. Responsibility is ours. The words spread through the chamber like slow thunder. Confession carried power, stronger than accusation. "We accept full council investigation," the delegate said. "We accept reparations. We accept monitoring. And we accept whatever judgment the council determines necessary for the safety of others." Silence followed, but this silence felt different again. Not fear, not tension. Possibility. Thren studied the chamber carefully. Many delegates showed anger, yes, but also something more thoughtful. Because the crisis had already been stopped. No lives remained in immediate danger. The question now was not how to survive the event, but how to grow beyond it. That was always harder. A legal advisor species, small and soft-voiced, requested recognition to speak. Their kind had written much of the Council's interstellar law. When they spoke, civilizations listened.
"The primary harm has been ended," the advisor said gently. "The victims live. Evidence is preserved. The offending government confesses without resistance."
"These conditions are rare in our history."
No one argued.
"We must decide," the advisor continued, "whether our purpose is punishment alone or prevention of future harm across all worlds."
The question settled deeply. It reached beyond one crime and into the meaning of the council itself. Hours passed as deliberation began. Not shouting, not threats, but careful thought. Proposals formed, oversight systems, transparency requirements, protection laws for civilian travelers stronger than any before, educational exchanges designed to prevent isolation and secrecy inside member governments. Through it all, one truth remained quietly present. None of this would be happening without 12 hours of human silence. Far away, on Earth, sunlight moved across oceans and cities as if nothing unusual had occurred. Children went to school. Workers traveled home. Music played in crowded streets. The planet that had held the galaxy's attention now lived an ordinary day again. But ordinary did not mean unchanged. In a quiet medical station orbiting a distant star, the rescued passengers of the Morning Light slowly began to understand they were safe. Human doctors moved gently, speaking in calm voices. Volunteers from nearby worlds arrived with food, toys, and translation help. Fear did not vanish instantly, but it no longer ruled the room. One small child asked the question many were thinking. Did someone come for us? A doctor smiled softly. Yes, she said. Someone always does. Back in the council chamber, the long debate finally approached conclusion. Thren could feel it in the subtle stillness that returned when minds reached shared understanding. The guilty civilization would not be destroyed or exiled. Instead, they would live under the strongest transparency agreement ever written, their resources dedicated in part to rebuilding the lives they had harmed. Their systems would become examples, studied by future generations learning why secrecy and fear must never guide policy. It was not the easy path. It was the meaningful one. As the final resolution prepared for formal vote, a realization touched many delegates at once, quiet but powerful. Humanity had trusted them to choose wisely. That trust felt heavier than any threat. And across the endless dark between stars, Earth remained peaceful and bright, saying nothing more at all.